Okay, we're going to do a couple of things today. We're going to show one of my customers a electrophone base, and if you remember yesterday we showed a electrophone base which was the 590 GB590 with the TX560, and my interpretation of electrophone base not quite correct, but we do have other electrophone bases. We have two actually. There's another one somewhere down here, upside down. Anyway, that's an 18 down there. This is a 40. Now the 40 dial on this one is not quite large enough, as you can see. Don't mind the dust, this one's been sent, but certainly doing the trick. But it's very hard to get an original 40 disc for these things. There are people now that make them. I was actually thinking about that, and we might even have one in stock here somewhere. Don't know, I have to check. But these originally came off. That's definitely come off a 40 channel pace or Chemtronic, absolutely. Okay, what I thought we'd do, because it's off frequency, 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 1 2. No, this is, remember that microphone yesterday that I used? I'm using the same dumb microphone. Hang on, let me fix that. Yeah, if you remember yesterday I said when you get a microphone like that and you can hear that sound, it's always a switch. Don't get me wrong, it can be the cord, but if you've checked the cord and you think, hey, the cord seems alright, it's the switch. So what we've done is we've put a bit of this is just a temporary mic I've just thrown on this thing just to test, and I thought we'll just show you. Now you can see I've sprayed deoxit in there. Look at that, how the switch is now working. Alright, let's just give it a test. Okay, so 1 2 3 4 5. This radio is off frequency at the moment. We're going to deal with that, but there you go. 1 2 1 2, and as you can see now the microphone, no sound. 1 2 3 4 5. Just a little bit of deoxit. Quite amazing. Okay, so I thought we'd go through a little bit of the calibration of frequency on a Cybernet chassis, and this is something I've been doing for years, and I'm going to refer to the chart each time here because I want people to sort of see how the process, I mean I sort of do this without having to look at it these days, but that doesn't matter. Often they'll say TP2 through a 100 puff capacitor. If your counter is sensitive enough, you won't need that 100 puff capacitor. Just obviously give that a go. Sometimes we have to go, with some counters got to put a 100 puff capacitor in there. Actually, I'll put various values in there, seems to work. Anyway, so we're on TP2 here, and as you can see, look, it's so close, it's not funny. And TP2 says to adjust CT3. Now, I normally wouldn't bother on this particular setup. CT3 is located just down there. See, right? I need a poker, don't I? Where is my adjustment tool? Let's have a look here. Okay, right, so CT3 is right there. Now, rarely will you need to adjust this. This is not crucial at all. As you'll see, this sets the channel spacing for the chip. So basically, just as a bit of a lesson on this, geez, we moved that a bit, didn't we? Hang on. Right, come on. 2401. So we want it to be right on 240. Let's have a look. Where's that going to go? See, we're going to the other side of it. It's really finicky, to be honest. Painful, actually. Let's have a look. And as you can see, when I touch it, even with this proper adjustment tool, it can become a bit of a pain. There's this type we use here, and it's very good for what we do. Now, we've managed to throw it way off there, and that's because I'm trying to hold cameras and I'll also say it's actually because the cap is a little bit, to be honest, a little bit sort of dicey. It's freeing up now, that's better. When they haven't been adjusted, and you'll find CT3. Oh, hang on, did I just knock the channel switch? Let me just fix that, hang on. Okay, I'm going to leave it at 10.24. It goes back and forth between 39 and 01 and da-da-da. Anyway, and the other thing too is, when you're not using a cap, be careful, because see how you're starting to hear a little bit of interrupt to the signal there? That is because sometimes you can load your test point down a little with the without using a cap there. Alright, let's move on to the next bit, which is a little bit more exciting. Now, TP3, by the way, this is actually a much better tool for adjusting these trimmers. My little tool here that I was using It tends to be a little bit fiddly. This is more for a for the IF cans, etc., etc. So please don't do as I do. But yes, yeah, that little TV adjustment tool you'll find is a lot better. Okay, so TP3 is hiding down here. Hang on, just need to move a couple of things around here so that we can see. I need a bit better light, and there it is right there. Okay, so TP3 is over near the 10.0525 crystal, which is over here, and then you have two adjustments here, and they are CT2 to the right and CT1 to the left. Now CT2, so the one to the right, is basically your lower sideband adjustment. CT1 becomes your upper sideband adjustment. I'm just checking that. So I'm going from memory here. Okay, so CT1 upper sideband. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so what will happen is we'll go and do what we did before. Now we may even need a cap for this. Sometimes this is a new counter that we're using we haven't used before. Did you hear that then, by the way? You hear that just sort of click onto it? And let's have a look. So we're looking for 20.105 plus or minus 40 hertz and 20.1035. 20.105 on upper sideband, 20.1035 on lower sideband. Now these are all the little tips and tricks that nobody's going to tell you. As you can see, here's our upper, here's our lower. Now we don't need to change the decimal place there, that's quite fine. So what we're going to do is we adjust the CT2, which is CT2, this one here, the one on the right. So remember, lower sideband is the right. Even if you're doing this by ear and you haven't got a frequency counter, by the way, easily done. We do a lot by that, you know, sometimes when we're out in the field. No big deal. Just need a good reference point to work from. Okay, so we want to bring this back to 103.5. So we're adjusting that there. Now, there we go, 103.5. Now we can actually take that to another decimal place and just see how close to 103.5 we are. And we can, remember it does say plus or minus 40 hertz. So, you know, you've got a little bit of sway here. You know what? 103.495. Yeah, we're just going to jump between like that. Consider that fine. Okay, so then let's go back to, over to upper sideband. Upper sideband we want to get to right on 105. Now this is going to be CT1. So CT1, once again, we're going to come in on the left-hand side here. So it's the one closest to the crystal. And all we're going to do is adjust that. That was a bit stuck, wasn't it? I heard it. I heard it click when I first moved it. 105.00 we're looking for. And look at that. It's swinging all over the place, but it's getting close. Sometimes you'll find this. Don't panic. 105.02, that'll do fine. So now, literally, what we've got done here is our doubler basically at 20.105, 1035. That is part of setting up, obviously, the upper and lower, but there's more to it. You've got to go to the 10695, and the two adjustments for the 10.695 are 10.695 in the upper sideband position, and that's adjusted by CT5. We'll show you that in a second. 10.692 is the lower sideband position, adjusted by CT4. Oh, and sorry, an important point. We need to find TP5, which TP5. Oh, I'll just get my bit of light in here. Sometimes don't feel bad if you've got to move some wires around. TP5 is right there. So in reference to, the easiest thing would be to this little fella here. It's right in front of that there, and basically the crystal is diagonal across from it there. All right, so then basically your two adjustments are CT5 sitting there to the left hand side of the crystal, and CT4 is in front of the crystal just over here, and you can clearly see them marked. It's not easy, I understand, and this is why I'm trying to give you some other guides. So let's take that off. Now, do you notice that's slightly changed then? And we've got to check that after, and that's why the cap sometimes is a little better, because we may be desensing things a little bit. Oh boy, that's so close it's not funny. You know, 691.97, my goodness. Yeah. I'm going to play with it for the heck of it. Now keep in mind, we're in lower sideband, so from what we said earlier, on lower sideband, to adjust your 695, we need to adjust CT4. And we said that CT4 was the one that was diagonally, well, sorry, not diagonally, it's just in front of the crystal, sorry. So I'm going to play with it for the heck of it, just to sort of show you the swing. But normally we wouldn't touch this, we'd just say, well, you know, close enough. Righto, got that in. So at the moment, let's give it a big swing, throw it right out. Let's have a look here. So we're looking for 692. Wouldn't be a joke if we couldn't get it back to as good as it was. That happens, trust me. Let's have a look here. Come on. Oh yeah, okay, look, honestly, when we're getting down to this sort of touchiness here, let it go. Alright, so 692, close enough. So now we want to get upper sideband, upper USB, and I'm still generating a signal through this just to show. Now the reason we generate a signal through this, and the reason we like a signal through it, we can literally hear the frequency changes. Listen to this. Hear that? Slight, when I take my lead off, we know whether or not we're getting a change, whether or not we need to go back and put a cap on and check it. Look at that one, it just shut it down. Now, let's go back over here. This one here you'll find on the 20.105, it's a 10.0525, sorry, crystal, doubling up to 20.105. You can see there's a very slight difference in the tone. Don't worry about it. It won't affect anything great. When you go through and do your final checks, you'll just say, hey, that didn't really matter. All right, so now we're going to do lower sideband. We just did upper, didn't we? I think we did. Let me check that. Yes, we did. Did we? Oh, hang on. I'm losing myself now. 692, no. Sorry, now we're going to do upper. 695, gee, they're both very close, aren't they? So, we just did CT4, and CT4, which was 10.692 adjustment, was here, and that was for lower sideband. So I just want to say that again, because I've sort of confused the issue a bit just then by flicking my mode selector and forgetting I'd done it. So CT5 here is where you're going to be able to adjust your, if I can get, you know what, look at that, it's a bit, I've actually twisted it a bit. We'll just bend that back into place a little bit, and trust me, getting the right tools for this sort of stuff and not bending them like I've just done, I'll fix that in a second, but is really important, and they do wear over time, unfortunately. Alright, so 695, lower sideband, sorry, upper sideband, goodness me, don't send your radio to me anytime soon. I'm losing track of where we're up to. Yeah, that knob's a little bit off actually, we need to pull that off. I can see why I'm getting confused, because I'm just looking at thinking, hang on. Anyway, we'll move that knob in a minute. Upper sideband. Okay, so we're going to be looking for 10.695. Now we've got pretty close to that right now, to be very, very honest. But just to show you the swing once again, look at that. You can hear the radio, and this is why we have a tone. We can hear this going, so that's your sideband offset as well, going. See how I can hear it going up and down? It's only an audible. All we want to do is get it pretty close on. You won't get much closer than that. Ah, look at that. I tried to better it. Ah, that's going to come down. Close enough. Oh, hang on. Sorry. Look at that. Just the last second when I came off, it moved. Hang about. Ideally, we want to get a little bit closer than that. So let's just see. Remember we said 40 hertz. Fine. 695, 49. Fine. Okay, let's turn that down again. But I did want you to hear just exactly what's going on there. So essentially, that there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. Hang on. Go to lower sideband. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 1, 2. That radio, by the books, is set up correctly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. Have a listen to that. So then you've got to say to yourself, is that my radio that's off, or is that my frequency counter that's off, or is that, now I know my frequency counter is perfect, we've set that up with the GPS unit, long story how we do that. that radio is relatively close, relatively. So at the end of the day, when it's like, and this, I'm listening to probably 50 hertz there, I got to be honest, I tend to set up by what I can hear, because sometimes the tolerances on these radios and these oscillators, I know you say to me, yeah, but the manual says, okay. But if we send this radio out like this and the chap gets on air with it at the moment, there's a very good chance someone's going to say, oh, sounds good, but just slightly off. So learn to sort of check with a known radio, because the tolerances of what's inside here over the last 40 years has changed dramatically at times, and there can be little things where it won't be much, it'll just be a little touch. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to touch up this just a tad, a very slight tad, and I'm only going to touch up CT, actually let's just check upper sideband as well to see just exactly how that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, see now, that there is definitely off. So once again, always double check what you've got here. Now the other thing that can cause a little bit of an issue is what we talked about here with the cap and the probe giving you a bit of a false reading by normally not very much, but it can be a little bit, and we did notice it earlier that there was a slight bit. Let me just adjust that just a tad. Now I've actually changed something here. This is a 50 ohm terminated IF output cable. I was getting that. Now this is a really good trick for new players, including myself. This radio here is just having a bit of trouble. So what I've done is I've actually taken this one off, because something just sort of made me think, let's just have a little look. Now I'm still not using a cap at the moment, but this is a proper lead that we've had a lot of success with. I won't try and explain why, because that'll take hours. But as you can see now, we're just getting readings that are a lot better. And I just wanted to sort of go back and check this, because it did seem like upper sideband was just way off. So I'm just going to do a bit of catch-up footy here with the new lead. Everything I've said is pretty much to the point as far as just going back on this, because I know it may be getting a bit confusing, but with the 10.0525, just remember that when you, as it says here, connect both oscilloscope frequency counter to test point TP3. Don't worry about the amplitude, that'll be fine. But what we're looking for is 20.105 on upper sideband, 20.1035 on lower sideband. So on lower sideband at the moment, 20.1035, 6, sorry. So we're just going to knock that a bit. And CT2, and I'll just show you again. Now I've got my lead in the way, haven't I? That's not very clever. Hang on, I might better just get in there. I need to get my light a bit better, to be honest. All right. So all we're doing here. Oh, hang on. I'm just knocking that lead then, just so you know what that difference in sound was. Right on the verge. If we go one more over, let's just see how on the verge we are. Fine. Okay, so that's good. Let's go back over to upper sideband, which is going to be CT1, the one to the left of the crystal. And we're just going to do this again. So we're looking for 105. And look how much difference there was in that, by the way, just in the lead. It was loading it down and giving it a bit of trouble, I'd say. Different one. Oh, there you go. Close enough. All right. So that is our oscillators set up correctly. And I'm just going to give us a test. Okay, so now I suppose the test is, how does it sound on this radio now? Which we know this radio is very, very, very good. I know for a fact. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 1. Look at that. Look at the difference. And let's go to upper sideband, which I know is calibrated beautifully. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Excuse me. Okay, so basically, these are the three elements of getting a Cybernet chassis back on frequency, and it's as easy when, once you have the right lead. Be careful of different leads, absolutely. If you're in doubt, do as they say. Grab a cap, and as they say here, just use a coupling capacitor, and they say through a 100 puff coupling capacitor. It's not, I've got to be honest, it's generally not necessary, but sometimes you'll get a counter that's not as sensitive, or you'll get something, you know, with the counter that's loading it down. As you saw, we had a lead that was giving us a little bit of trouble, very minute, but enough to, you know, be a pain. So there you go. All right, I'm trying to think, just not to let this video go too long, but what else I can teach you about Cybernet chassis very quickly. Well, I suppose the biggest giveaway that, you know, we can give you is, and this one's already turned up, but let's show you where it is. The RV2 here, that's your ALC, all right? So 9 times out of 10, it's already been done. But that's where you want it full up. And to give you an idea, let me show you the difference of what RV2. Let's turn it back to where it would be standard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. That's all right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. You know, it's okay, isn't it? Watch it when I knock the ALC up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hollow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not bad, hey. Just obviously your RF stage is. I won't go through to full tune on this right now, but basically we want a 2-tone oscillator in on the radio. So we're peaking here, we're peaking here. Often you'll see R37 cut. You know what's funny? I reckon it's worth 0.4 of a watt or something, but to be honest, I don't think you'll see it on sideband here. Hello, a little bit, maybe not. Anyway, that's one of the common things we used to do. Look, I could go through a lot of super tune mods and things we used to do. Please, if the bias is, if it's not sounding and you don't know how to check the bias, do not touch here, please. Here you can certainly try and peak. Once again, this is the trap in the end for 6 meters TVI, etc. I mean, yeah, maybe it doesn't really make a big difference. Receiver around the strip on the side here. So pretty much with the receiver, have a listen. I'm going to put less signal into it so you can actually hear the swoosh. And maybe this time we'll use the correct tool. Now for these, you can crack these so easily. Use the right tool. So what we're doing is we're basically looking at the signal as we adjust. See how, look at that, down, down, down. So it's pretty peaked. Let's go to the next one. Look at that. It's just picked up a little bit. So we're just, you know, keep in mind, you know, these are very marginal adjustments there. We're down on the end one there. Yeah, a little bit, not much, no. Once again, these are just spots to see if you, but you need a known signal. You definitely need a known, right, okay, sorry, and I'm just over here on this one here. All right. Now, they were all pretty peaked. Look, in theory, look, you could certainly just have a look here. Let's have a look. But once again, no, actually, that's not going to, no, forget that one. Sorry, no, it's not. No, of course not. Sorry, so let's just get this right. 1, 2, 3, 4, with a known signal going in, just a slight peak. Now, when you're broadbanding, etc., 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, I'm not going to go into a broadbanding experiment right now because I would rather, if the radio is working fine, do not touch 1, 2, 3, 4. You can get yourself into a lot of trouble. If the VCO is showing its correct voltage, don't break this fella here, please. they break so easily. Even with the right tool, I've cracked them, I've got to be honest. So, you know, be very careful in that area as well. Hang on, let me turn that down. You don't really need to hear that anymore. I could go through a number of other things. Obviously, stay away from over here. If you've got no carrier problems, no need to touch anything around here. Sideband modulation. Hang on, get the right tool. Haven't touched one for a while. Pretty sure that's sideband modulation. Yeah. Okay, so that's sitting in there. I'm just going to make sure I'm right here. So let's turn that back a bit. And that should drop our mic audio down a bit. Yeah, okay. And then if I go like that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 1, 2, and as I turn it down, 1, 2, 1, 2, oh, hang on, 1, 2, 3, yeah. So that one there, you can just go full blast on that. Now, I'm not an all knobs to the right sort of guy, but on Cybernets, all knobs to the right here, all knobs to the right on RV2, and you'll be very safe. Be a little bit careful around some of these other bits here. There's some squelch controls, there's bits and pieces that can, you know, give you a bit of trouble. and you know, you can certainly, from what I'm sort of telling you here, you can certainly learn a lot without, if you don't touch any more than what I'm saying right now. And I'll just see, I'll give this thing a bit of a quick RF tune. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Okay, so let's see. Hang on, I need 2 hands for this. Hang on. Now, I haven't gone crazy trying to do any sort of super tune, but you'll see that's come up a bit. Hollow, 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 hollow. So all that was doing a quick hello test. I haven't even put a 2-tone in, and there's a million ways we can get, you know, 18 watts out of a electrophone base station, a Cybernet base. It's not difficult to do. But generally, I actually find that most people are chasing the last watt, are gaining nothing. Honestly, they're really not. Quite seriously, get them up to, you know, 14, 15 watts. They'll be fine forever. And obviously AM as well. Sorry, didn't cover that. Don't worry about the hum there. 1 2 1 2. Now, keep in mind I'm on a PEP meter here. Let me just go to AM here so we don't get that buzz. 1 2 1 2 1 2. No, it's going to buzz because we're too close to it. Turn that down. Okay, 1 2 1 2. So on the electrophone, there is a control right here, and I sort of need 2 hands. Hang on. Okay, so I've just lifted that a bit. Now, on the base stations, it's there, but on the mobiles, it's a big white canister. Haven't got the bottom of this radio off, so I can't really show you, and I don't think I've got one on the ground at the moment. All the rubbish that's on the ground here, I don't think I do. Be nice to show you one, but I don't think I can. Yeah, unfortunately, no, I don't have a Cybernet in pieces here. I do in the other workshops, but anyway, it's a big white thing. It's huge, size of a 20-cent piece. Can't miss it. It's mounted on the side of the mobiles. That is how you adjust your AM. Don't go crazy on knocking it up. It's there for a reason. See, I've set it for 5 watts. Now, don't worry about the PEP here. 1 2 3 4 5. Forget that. 5 watts carrier. That's fine. Lasts forever. Don't worry about it. You know, don't crank it up to, you know, the maximum output. Wasting your time, seriously, and cause yourself more grief than it's worth down the track. Okay, so that is the Cybernet chassis in a nutshell, as far as just setting up some very, very basic. Now, I could go into look, you know, when you start calibrating for massive loads of frequency range, obviously your VCO alignment comes into it. So does the adjustment of this fella, this fella, this fella, and this fella. And basically what they do, you're trying to average your power out. Now, I don't want to go into that unless we're going to do a proper one at some stage where we show you. And look, there's some little issues with ACMA with doing that anyway. At the moment, everything I've done applies to a 40-channel CB with no modifications, so I can legally show you that without getting a note in the mail, a fine to pay at some stage. That's coming, guys. It's actually coming. On the spot fines for radio stuff. I know you think I'm kidding. I'm gonna stick to that one. I think in time it's going to be like a traffic fine, and you're going to have to defend yourself. So that's why I'm a bit careful what I show on a video these days. I took down over 100 videos at one stage at the request of ACMA. Admittedly, we were doing a few silly things like, you know, amplifier shootouts on 27 megs, and there was a few things that probably didn't quite make them get excited. But by the same token, they didn't ask me to do anything that wasn't based on something that didn't really follow quite, you know, the wall. Just a little bit off. Anyway, all right. Now, this video also doubles as a you know who you are, my good mate that I'm putting your quote together this afternoon too, and also Max, your quote as well will get done this afternoon. Sorry, mate, you've been so patient. Thank you. And I got your email telling me to just slow down and take it easy, and it's no hurry. Look. Thank you. Worst thing you can tell me, but no. No, I mean from the point of view that I'll take advantage of that, but no, I won't. I'll get that done this afternoon. But thanks, guys. This is really, if you've got any questions on Cybernets, you know, not me, not only me. There's a number of us that know them well, and you know, a lot of the YouTube channels out there. Hayden knows these things inside out on the probably the most popular YouTube channel in Australia, HRDX, and definitely you've got different people in your states too, respectively. You've got Graham down in Melbourne that, you know, I could put a blindfold on Graham and he'd do what I just did. You've got Kel in Sydney, You've obviously got Ray. Ray's a little busier these days with, he's got some other things on his plate, but you know, certainly contact Ray if you've got some patience. You know, he will get to it, I promise you that. But you know, I know what Ray's doing at the moment. He's got a lot on his plate, so just be patient there. But by the same token, I'm actually talking to a friend of mine in South Australia at the moment who's moved there recently, Bob 7RX. I'm trying to convince him to do a bit of a postal service, I'd call it, like you post your radio, and look, the reason I'm giving you all these contacts, you might say, well, don't you want the work? I don't. Look, money I've got, time I don't, and I'm really trying to just get through what we've got here. If you've got something that's, you know, really on your mind and you want me definitely to look at it, look, we'll talk about it, but I just want to warn you that I'm a little slower because of trying to get rid of this mess here, seriously. And as much as I'd love to have people help me out here, and you know, I get different ones from interstate saying, I literally had one chap say he'll fly in and give me a hand, and I really appreciate that. I can't do that, you know, and the locals here are pretty busy. I can't get much help there, so it's one of those things where I've just got to try and get through it on the good days. But as far as commercial repairs, I'm probably not your best choice, hence why I don't mind putting a bit of stuff out also to say, well, you know, some of this stuff with a decent frequency counter and a look, you really do need a signal generator. Talk to us if you want to get set up in test equipment. I have loads and loads of test equipment. We will be putting some of it up for sale soon. If you're serious about wanting to be able to do this sort of work properly, then you know, something like this is absolutely, well, and to be honest, something as basic as this and this is your, you know, is your helper. So please talk to us if you need to. This hopefully gives you an idea that there's not rocket science. Nothing I did today is more than following a few very easy instructions. And if I was to take you through every part of this, there's a lot of this we don't even do. We don't. I mean, we obviously like, you know, rounded, you know, etc., and no flat topping, all that. It's lovely. But just keep in mind that really it's not that difficult. So I just want to check something too. Down in here, I was trying to remember if that was RV11. I reckon it is. I was talking about the sideband mod there. Pretty sure that was RV11. Yeah, no, I reckon that must be RV11. Yes. Now, when you go through something like this, you'll find there's a lot of other different smaller adjustments that you can make, and my suggestion to you is keep it simple. Don't go crazy trying to did you notice I didn't bother on the 10.240 back here? Where was it? I think it was the 10.240. No, it wasn't, sorry, it was over here, sorry. It said, you know, adjust core of T3 maximum amplitude of scope display for 10.0525. Well, the fact is, the only time I'd go and do that is if I could sort of suggest that my 20.105 or 20.1035 was in trouble for whatever reason. I'd go back and say, well, hang on, someone adjusted here and we've just got no amplitude on that, on the scope. You know, and we'd have a look at that. But generally, you don't need to. You don't need to touch it. It'll be fine. All right, well, thanks very much. Hopefully, I know this video's gone a little bit longer, but for those of you actually interested to tune cybernets and to get into at least getting them on frequency, etc., it's important I sort of go through it slowly and just double back on, you know, everything to make sure that you get it right. You will get confused at time. I do, you know. Was lower sideband CT2 or, you know, CT3, was lower sideband CT5 or CT4, and look, I've done it a lot, but I still sometimes have to sort of go, oh, hang on, which one was, oh yeah, righto. If you were to do the opposite and try and tune them the opposite, you'll notice all the filter, everything goes wrong, everything. You will sit there and go, you'll actually feel like I'm in a hole that I can't get out of. So those of you who may say, well, I don't have a frequency counter, I just want to touch up my sidebands, you know, obviously I would actually go here first. I would suggest you say, right, just very, very slightly, while you're listening to a known receiver that's on frequency, I would say adjust your CT5 in upper sideband ever so slightly, and your CT4 on lower sideband ever so slightly, but don't confuse the two, because you can get yourself into a bit of a nightmare where if you haven't got a frequency counter like I've got to, you know, throw myself back onto frequency. I mean, I can very simply get back onto any of these test probes and say, idiot, I mucked up upper sideband and lower sideband, bang, you know. I'm sure in this video, I reckon if I look back at this video, at some stage, I've probably said upper versus lower at some stage, and I've made a faux pas, so I'm sure someone will mention that in the comments file. And look, we all do it, but the other day, just crack on forward. Don't make any massive adjustments. That's the other thing too when you're dealing with frequency on these, especially if you're not using a frequency counter and you're just trying to use a second receiver to get it right. Very small adjustments on the right one, because very small adjustments on the wrong one can send you the wrong direction, and then you'll push a bad position, and then you'll sit there and go, why does my upper sideband sound so narrow? What's going on? It's, you know, it didn't sound like that before, you know, sort of, and that's what they should sound like. See how the two sidebands sound very similar? Now, I could show you if I was to adjust the crystal incorrectly, one will sound very narrow. It'll go, you know, you can just go, okay, I've got something wrong there. All right, we've used an electrophone. Anybody that's been around for a while knows that that's also everything from a Super Panther to a, oh, I did have a Cybernet here, just not in pieces. Isn't that beautiful? That's a very nice Super Panther. A Super Panther, a Sound 4, a Karrina. You know what? I could be here for the next half an hour. There are so many Cybernet chassis out there. Lafayette's even, you know, from the US. High Gain even put out a Cybernet chassis. Look, so many. So this is probably one of the most common, you know, people would debate whether the 858 or the 02A chip, you know, which one was more used. I have no idea. Both made some beautiful products. All right, thanks very much, 73s. Sorry this went a little bit longer, but as I said, those of you actually interested to learn, get on to me. As I said, loads and loads and loads of test equipment. I'm talking stuff, everything from $200 to $20,000 will be up for sale very soon. All right, maybe not 20,000, 6,000. I was thinking, geez, if I could get 20,000 for this one I was just thinking of. No, 6,000. But no, there's a lot of test equipment that is in stock at the moment. A lot of meters, a lot of frequency counters, a lot of power meters, so, yep. And and Miles, if you're watching this, mate, your piece of equipment, I'm not going to give too much away, mate, is bloody beautiful. Come from one of my best mates. I'll give you the story when I catch you on the Hume Highway, buddy, but it is so nice. I mean nice. I mean, like, you would swear my friend didn't use it. It's so good. All right, that should get you pumping, Miles. VK2ASS I'm referring to there. He won't mind I'm mentioning his name. He's a great mate of mine, and someone that just helps me out so much with so many things. So it's certainly good to be able to help him out with. And sorry, just to extend on that, Miles wants to fix his own gear. Miles is a smart boy. All he needs is a roadmap, which is paperwork, and test equipment. With those two things, the rest of it, Miles has got all the skills and he's got the mindset. He's very analytical. He just sits there. Some of the things he's fixed without test equipment, I've actually gone, mate, you're telling me the full truth here, because I couldn't have fixed that probably with test equipment. So he's done some really good stuff. And you know what does it? It is something about the way that he decides, I just want to solve this problem, and he's a problem solver, and he's someone that, no, he doesn't give up, I tell you now. I give up more than he does. Anyway, all right guys, 73, sorry about the long video, but hopefully it's been informative and to help you out a little bit. This is VK3 Charlie Mike Brenton, Tangambalanga, Northeast Victoria, Australia. All the best.